start doing mushrooms. We did a massive dose of mushrooms. Second we did them, that same laughter came out so strong, hitting ourselves, which then turned into tears, crying our eyes out, and then boom, we leave our bodies. We both get taken and shown our past lives. I don't have this load of bollocks, and I don't have the meditation was like sort of getting, and it made me think, do the monks just sit and meditate all day because they get closer to whatever was happening as a result of these mushrooms? But we get shown our whole like past lives, what we're doing to feed, like I say, like the devil or like the bad thoughts in your brain, like the caffeine. That's where I found out.
I don't know about you, but like society in general, I think a lot of people are leaning to the fact that there must be something bigger than us. Like after COVID and like all these things, I feel like people are just like, there must be something bigger than us. So people are way more open to all these things, which is like led to some great things and then some like worse things like New Age and all those kind of things.
So I think the like medium of people having their own podcasts or people having like a more of a platform has enabled people that are Christians or will have more of those values or talk about these topics. So like have that out there.
Yeah.
And then people watching it and people being curious when Jordan Peterson's speaking, when PVD is speaking, when certain people online are like discussing like more of these topics, is making people ask questions. Even like Bibles are selling out at the moment. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I saw a graph.
Like the caffeine that I'm having, the sugar that I'm having, the giving into, I think the sexual, like the sexualized brain that I had at the time, giving into all that stuff and what it was doing and what it was feeding. And it was like, oh my God, we got shown all of that. Then we got shown enlightenment. I don't know, where it was like where we're both from. And we were both communicating the whole time, me and my friend, in this, as we were being shown this stuff.
Not actually speaking to each other.
No, but just like in the place. We get obviously shown our past lives, shown how we'd actually met in a past life. And that's how we like felt like we already knew each other. And then shown enlightenment. And it's like the best place ever. I don't know if that's like heaven or what, I don't know. But it's like, that's where we're all from. We're all from.
This sounds insane.
And then we both, it was like, this is the best feeling, let's stay here. But then we both had the thing of, no, we've come to Earth for a reason. And we came back to our bodies and we both landed at the same time, floods of tears, looking at each other like, that just happened.
The first part is obviously like, everyone would be thinking like, do you even think that was real? Or do you think he was just like tripping out?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? At this point, you could say either, but the amount of people that have done psychedelics that they will claim this sort of thing, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, that would say it's true. To be fair, I would lean towards it being true. Wait, like quite considerably. To not, obviously, because of believing in the spiritual realm, that we're more than just physical beings, like we're spiritual, like souls. We all have a soul. So I'd lean way towards it being real. I think from my point of view, like when you're opening yourself up to these kind of things, like that could be like dangerous, man. Like real dangerous. And I don't know, I think in Corinthians it talks about, people may laugh, but like Corinthians it talks about how Satan can masquerade as an angel of light and like demons can come looking as all these like great things. I remember watching a podcast one time and it talks about like a similar situation, like a guy who was in psychedelics and did like loads of drugs. And he's a Christian now, and he explained it in the sense that it's like a back door to the spiritual realm. So you open yourself up to not like just good things, and if there's good, there must be evil. Like there has to be both. You can't just have one or the other. So, but by going through that way, not going through Jesus, you open yourself up to like a whole load of crazy stuff.
But it's also like, obviously, I understand that could be fun for people. Like I've also experimented with psychedelics, not to this extent, or like I've not had an experience like that, but I can understand like why people do that. And like just a caveat, that was before I was a Christian and stuff.
BC.
I do think that why would you do that if you can have encounters with God, you can speak to God anytime, you can pray anytime. Do you know what I mean? You can open up your Bible.
Yeah.
But it might not be as visual. It could be. It's like I believe that God can encounter you in any way. But yeah, you don't need to take XYZ to encounter God, I would say.
Yeah, I guess you could also flip the coin and say, could this be God using a situation to like reveal himself to, obviously don't know the guy, but to Joe and his mate. Yeah, maybe. I don't. That's not out of the realms of possibility. But for me, it wouldn't feel very congruent.
Well, would you say that instead of, well, as a counter argument, would you say that instead of God revealing himself to them too, that it actually might be Satan, like enemy, like, and it's like deceiving them?
Yeah. It's like
it could be both.
psychedelics and keep going down
Yeah.
like a route of destruction. Because like the devil's not bothered which way you go as long as it's pushing you away from God. And if he's feeding them this, we're here for a purpose. We have like control over our own destiny kind of stuff. And they continue to do all these things, and it's just going to lead them down something that I believe, and I know you believe, isn't the truth. And like, ultimately there's consequences to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is really true. I know people go on like these trips to these tribes where they take like ayahuasca, like they do mushroom trips. I feel like it's quite a big thing that people seek to like experience something like this. But the part of me thinks, like you say, is it like a backdoor? Is it the enemy or Satan, we call them, like trying to deceive those people that, oh, I'm speaking to God, but you're actually speaking to me, and I'm deceiving you and take you down this road that is gonna like be something toxic in your life.
Yeah, or not. Well, the Bible also describes Satan as like the prince of the world, like the god of this world. So it's like he obviously has a lot of authority here. So yeah, I think you can open yourself up to all those kind of things, which I think is like seriously dangerous. Which also highlights that, like you said, like it's so easy. Like God's so accessible. Like you don't need to do all these things to be in relationship with God.
Yeah,
which is kind of, I wonder if someone had that conversation with him or someone in Joe's situation where they genuinely like think of all these things, and like he might not know anything else. So of course he's just going to keep going down this rabbit hole. I wonder if they would be so open to that conversation, which I think would be a sick conversation.
and also but like I was saying earlier, like you can, like, and you just said you can encounter God at any time. And I would say to you, like, if you're listening to this or watching and you're literally like, oh, I don't believe this like at all, like give it a go. Like what's the like worst that's gonna happen? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, funny thing, I had like a similar thing when I was a kid, doubting God loads. So I must have been like 7, maybe 8. I remember I was getting really uptight and wound up, because obviously like, I grew up in church and stuff, so like God was always a topic of conversation. Like I always heard God. But I was just like, how do you know? Like, how do you know he's real? So I was asking my mum all these questions. How do you know God's real? How, like, she obviously explained Jesus and all these things, but I'm like, how do you physically know? Do you know what I mean? Like you want something,
Something like
some representation, or like some people will want that. And I remember she just said to me, just ask God to reveal himself to you. Just ask him and be like really specific about it. So I remember like I was getting like hyped up. I was like, all right.
yeah.
I was crying, like yeah. Like so like I went to bed, prayed about it. And I prayed like a very specific dream, like long story short. I just prayed that I can control my dream and like know that I was in a dream and do what I want in it. And then that exact night, that exact thing happened. And then from then on, I've never had anything like that again, or anything like a dream like that again.
Really.
So for me, that was like, wow.
Would you say that was like a turning point for you, or like something that you look back on as something that built your faith up? Or
Yeah, I think it definitely built it to the sense where it was like I can't deny that there was a God. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't deny there's something bigger than us.
it is crazy. And like if that happened, if you were able to ask God, like there's nothing stopping anyone else.
Yeah, literally. That's
it does take faith as well. Like on days where like you other Christians might have questions or doubt all of this. That is part of it as well, like having faith. And
there's a faith gap.
Yeah,
definitely. I think there's definitely a faith gap. I think it's very interesting that it like happened when I was a child, and it like the Bible talks about coming to God, having faith like a child, which I think like as a kid you have no reason not like to doubt it.
Yeah, well, you have challenges in life, and a lot of points that's when you can lean more on God actually.
Yeah,
that's what I think. But if you don't do that, then you can feel it more, and it makes you question things or see things from like a adult perspective.
I just think the main takeaway to wrap up, like I think it, like the video encompasses where loads of people are at, and it encompasses that there is good and there is evil. Like there's both, and like you need to be able to discern that.
Yeah,
or anything could happen.
Yeah, and you can have all those psychedelic experiences, but ultimately then we're never gonna know if that's being deceived or if that is actually connected
Yeah.
with God. Like we'll
Where's
never
it
know.
leading you?
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Where's it leading you?
Yeah. So you can debate either side, but we'll never know
Yeah.
realistically. So why take like the risk? Yeah, when you could just
Like know you're in the right relationship with God.
yeah.
But anyway, I think as we wrap up, like if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, like to hear your opinion, and we'll catch you on the next one.